Hi, I'm Heather Hubbard. I went from being a lawyer and partner at one of the largest firms in America to becoming an online personality and successful entrepreneur. I know what it takes to rise to the top. I also know all too well the toll it can take on your health and personal life. So, how do you shine bright without burning out? How do you chase joy while achieving success? You're listening to the Hustle and Flow podcast. Welcome back to Hustle and Flow. I am your host, Heather Hubbard, and we are on episode 222, which is completely fitting for what our topic is today. I have a special guest, Danielle Mercurio. And before I give the introduction, I have to tell you, we met back in 2014. And it was at a pivotal moment. It was basically the weekend that I decided I was leaving my law firm and I was starting my own business. So we'll have to find out if that was a pivotal weekend for Danielle as well. But clearly, 10 years later, still know her. I have hired her for readings. And when we were thinking about what we should talk about as we are planning for the new year, I was like, we've got to talk about tarot and astrology. Y'all have heard me talk about it, but I want you to hear about it from the expert. So here is the official introduction. Okay. Danielle is a spiritual technologist, astrologer, and visionary guide for the Aquarian age, helping individuals and organizations align with cosmic trends and future-focused innovation. With her expertise in astrology, intuitive insights, and the integration of AI as a tool for growth and self-discovery, Danielle bridges spirituality and technology, which is very Aquarian, to inspire transformation and purpose. Danielle, thank you so much for coming on Hustle and Flow.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Heather. It's so good to see you. I love that it's been a decade. I love what that weekend did for us. It initiated something. It kicked off something. I was still working a corporate job at the time too, and I wound up leaving my job that spring. So what, like 9 months, probably exactly 9 months, right? As we
Yeah.
do with the numbers. And it definitely just set us on a whole new timeline.
And I feel like it really did for a lot of people. And we could tell you what it was, but it doesn't happen anymore. So you missed out.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's a virtual anymore, to
I
be
don't
honest.
know. I
But it
don't
doesn't
know.
matter. That's not for us to know anymore. It's like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
It was what we needed in the moment. And we're 10 years later, we are where we're supposed to be. On the numbers, I also have to share. So at some point, I don't even know what year it was. Danielle was like, I'm going to be in Nashville with Lululemon, and we are going to a cave for a sound bath. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. And of course, it was exit 111. And so when we were chatting about what episode she was going to come out on, I was like, of course, it just happens to be episode 222, which is just perfect. So for those of
Yeah,
you who love all of this stuff like us, you're totally like, you're right. Like, you're just like, I'm so into this already.
yeah. Get
Some of
ready
you,
to
though,
nerd
who are
out.
listening, they are like, I don't even know what y'all are talking about. You are using words that I don't understand, and I am confused. So let's start, Danielle, with the people who are listening that are like, what are y'all even talking about? What is, let's just start with tarot and astrology. Like,
Okay.
what are the foundations? What are the differences?
Okay, well, let's start with astrology. Well, let's look at it from this perspective. Anything that's considered spiritual, right? Some kind of spiritual tool, some kind of spiritual practice, whether it's astrology, whether it's tarot, numerology, meditation, whatever it is, it's a opportunity for us to become more aware of who we are and also deepen our connection to something greater. So anything
Mhm.
that's metaphysical, anything that's spiritual is allowing us to get back into the spirit of who we are. So I look at any spiritual tool as a technology in a way, right? It's a technology that you can utilize. And then from utilizing it, from gaining the awareness that it provides, then we have an opportunity to kind of program ourselves to move forward in that way. And so
Mhm.
with something like astrology, what we're using is the planetary system. We're looking up at the solar system and we're looking at it as more than just the moon, Jupiter, Saturn, and we're giving all of those planets a persona. And each of those planetary personas then give us intel into who we are based on the alignment of that planet on the moment that you decided to arrive here on Earth and take your first breath. Within that planetary system, we use what's called the zodiac wheel, which contains the 12 zodiac signs. Many of us, know the 12 signs now. I feel like astrology has definitely gained more popularity over the years. And so we use those 12 signs and the planetary positions together in collaboration to once again look at almost a blueprint of who you are, why you're here, and what the future holds for you. And again, it's awareness. It's take what feels really good, be curious about what doesn't, and leave the rest for another time. And so that's kind of the astrology in its essence. And then same for tarot. Tarot is a deck of it is 72 cards that have major and minor arcana. And this was developed, oh goodness, in the 1500s. So it's an old system. I mean, astrology is like literally thousands of years old. And with tarot, it became once again another opportunity to work with spirit and to work with yourself. Sometimes, as you know, it's really hard to just sit and be like, what am I supposed to do? Or what's next? Or how do I figure out this relationship? Or what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Or am I on the right track? Will I ever make money? To sit there and contemplate that can feel overwhelming and it can feel like a waste of time, even. So, having oracle cards or tarot cards, when you pull that card and you look at what the meaning of the card is, you can then apply it to what's currently going on in your life to, again, create a little bit of insight, create a little bit of meaning, create a journal prompt, right? Give you a way to help you move forward. So any spiritual tool, anything from a metaphysical perspective, in my opinion, is just helping you understand who you are and then deciding how it can help you going forward.
I love that explanation. And yeah, it's like they're just such great tools. And I feel like in some ways, like it's a way to play with the universe, like the something bigger. It's so easy to just get bogged down in the day to day and the materialistic and our culture and our society and what's right in front of us. And it's so easy to forget that everything is so much bigger, and being able to tap into that energy, it just feels, I mean, really good. I actually had another lawyer friend who used to tell other people, she was like, look, if Heather can be into this, we can be into this. And what she meant by that was like, I am so like no nonsense, kind of brainy, right? Like,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
but even and super practical and strategic. And I'm like, no, I'm always
right.
looking to these tools because I find them to be just another tool, right? I believe, and I'm curious from
Exactly.
your perspective, do you feel like it's all predestined and it's like it's telling you what's going to happen, or it's more information to help you determine what you're going to do, your next step?
It's a little bit of both per se. I think, and we can get really heady with this one, but we came into this life with options. We came here with what I believe to be a predetermined plan. This is why I'm going to come here. This is what I'd like to accomplish. How that might happen, there are going to be a multitude of ways of how this could unfold. And that gets more expansive and changes by the minute based on the choices we make. Right? Based on the choice of, yes, I'm going to stay in this relationship. No, I'm going to leave it. Yes, I'm going to move to this city. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm going to leave my law firm. Actually, no, I'm going to stay another year. So we have the freedom of choice. And based on those choices, every choice we make recalibrates our destiny and what's possible. But what never goes away is the main theme of why you came here. Most of us came here with a specific goal or purpose or something that we wanted to expand, evolve into, something that our soul really wanted to learn. It could be relationships, it could be a health journey, it could be releasing karma. So no matter what choices we make in the human field, they're always going to shift and grow and operate in a way to hopefully get you to the bigger purpose, per se. So it's like we came here with a macro goal, and then we have all these like micro experiences that kind of weave in and out throughout our journey to hopefully just get us to where we were meant to go all along.
So, one of the things that when I'm doing tarot, a lot of people are scared of like the death card and things like
Yeah.
that, right? And they think, oh my gosh, this is kind of witchy. And I'm like, I
Yes.
actually like when I get the tower card or the death card, it does not
Or
scare
devil.
me. I think partly because I feel like it's not like, oh, here's a hex. It's like, no, this is information. This is information that I can use, and it's about what it represents. So much of it is symbolic and what it means to you, not the literal meaning.
Right. Exactly. Because that's the thing. Look, we all experience death throughout our life, whether it's literal and
Of
we're
course.
experiencing people we love passing away, but we also look at the death of our identity. I was this person in this way, and I am no longer identifying to that. That is a death, right? We've all had moments where it feels like everything's been stripped away and it's all falling apart, and you don't know where you're going to go from here. And then all of a sudden, you find a way to rebuild. That's death energy. That's tower energy. So, what it's doing is if the tarot was like all pie in the sky and every single card was happy and joyous, that wouldn't be realistic. That wouldn't be the human journey. And so when we have a card like death, it's an opportunity. And actually, it's a beautiful thing. It's like, wow, you're clearly moving through some kind of ending. You're clearly wrapping something up. You're on your way to a rebirth. You're on your way to new life. And how beautiful is that? Same with the tower, same with any other card that's perceived as negative or bad. It's just showing you, like, yeah, you might be in a gritty period right now. You might be experiencing a challenge. That's life. But the beautiful thing is in pulling this card, how can you now seek support? How can you move through this and know that good, let's get this card out of the way so then we can get to one of the juicy ones, right? I kind of look at it from that
Yeah.
perspective too. So it's realistic.
So I occasionally will do the Celtic Cross
Yeah.
tarot spread, and I generally do it when I'm really at like a crossroads and I'm confused about something. And I did it. So, for those listening, if you were with me during summer camp, you remember this time. And there was just a lot going on. And I was just like, I've got to do the Celtic Cross. And I did it. And the the goal in the immediate future was death in the tower. And I was like, oh shit.
Mm. Right.
I
Well,
was
right.
like,
And it's okay to have that response. Yeah. Be like,
that was like, that's not what I'm wanting.
yeah.
But also the final card, the final outcome was the sun. And
Mm,
I remembered as I was sharing this with some of my teammates, they were just like, oh my God. But here's what happened. That year, I found out I had an adrenal tumor. And I was then like truly on what felt like a horrible, horrible path. But one of the things that I kept holding on to was the sun is coming.
hmm
The sun is coming. And I was actually really relieved that I had done that spread and got that reading before I ever knew anything, because it
hmm
helped me actually feel like, not that it was more real, you know what I mean? But it was like,
Sure.
okay, this didn't come as it was happening. And it literally
Right.
gave me the path to knowing that it's gonna
Yes.
be okay. The final
Yes.
outcome is not death in the tower. For what
Right.
I'm doing, the final outcome is the sun. So I know I'm gonna get better. It's just gonna be
Mhm.
perhaps a longer road.
Yes. And it, in a way it prepares you and it lets you know that no matter what, spirit has your back and it's going to be okay. And so when you did receive that news, there was kind of like, oh, I was kind of waiting for this, right? But I know that this is it. This is what it meant. I can connect the dots and I can trust that, yeah, light is on the horizon. The sun will rise. And I will
Yeah.
just keep waking up every day and moving through this until I have that beautiful sunrise.
Yeah. Let's talk about your year end forecast. I love it. The 13 spread, it's beautiful. Tell us what it is, and then also like what's the purpose behind it, how it can, I know because I do it, how it can help you
Yeah.
prepare for the year ahead.
Right. Well, just like you were talking about, it when we work with the cards in this way and we have an intention of how we're working. In your case, you did the cross, right? And that's a different way to manipulate, and I say that in a kind way, manipulate the cards so that you get a certain outcome. So same with doing it for the upcoming year. So what we're doing is we're taking the tarot, we're taking your goals. I like to leave in, of course, astrological influences, and then I go deeper and want to work with your spirit team. However, from a tarot perspective, what we're doing is we're taking your goals, we're taking your intentions, and we're taking our deck and we're really like, I like, if you're doing it on your own, I really want you to spend time with the deck, right? Like really like hold it, shuffle it, keep it in your lap while you're meditating just to kind of anchor it in. And then from that space, what you're doing is you're literally pulling one card per month of the year. So you're pulling 12 cards from January to December. And then when you're done with those cards, you're going to pull like a 13th card. 13 is considered a master number Jesus and the 12 disciples, King Arthur and, the 12 knights. It's 13 is divine wisdom, the ultimate feminine power, so to speak. And so we make that our power card for the year. So that's the last one that you pull, number 13. And then what happens is not only do you have a way to sit and kind of look at the forecast, the trend of the year ahead based on the cards, you also have an experience every month of checking in, being like, okay, it's February. Let me remind myself what January was. Okay, yep. Now I really see how that January fortune came to be. And now that I'm stepping into February, this is the February card. How do I want to lean into it? How do I want to embody it? How does it meet me where I'm at? Where could it surprise me? And you just get to do that every month, and it becomes kind of like the reading that keeps on giving.
I love to go back each, well, I'm constantly checking in, right?
Yeah, I do that too.
Because, I have my own rituals around it, but I always want to look at what's coming up. And then I
Mhm.
always reflect on what happened. And not just for those months, but sometimes the more distance you have, the more you
Yeah,
see. Yeah. The bigger the pattern. Um,
absolutely.
Tell me how you bring astrology into it, because I feel like most people just do astrology or they just do tarot. And I
Yeah.
love that I know you do even more than that, but just bringing both of those together,
Yeah.
that's just really, really exciting and what I believe is unique.
Thank you. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, I think the more awareness we have, the more power we have. The more intel of what's going on, the more that we're able to move forward and stay in alignment with our goals and our desires and what we're hoping to co-create. And so, what I usually like to do is I like to kind of look at someone's chart first, just to start to see the highlights. Okay, what's going on with the retrogrades? Where are the planets moving? Where's this person's natal full moon going to be in this upcoming year? Kind of looking at um, power spots within the chart that someone would want to be aware of. And then after we kind of comb through the chart, then we move into the cards. And so then what I'm doing is every month that we look at the card and we look at, okay, these are the themes coming through in the card. Let me quickly look at their blueprint, their natal chart, and say, okay, based on February being this card, these are the astrological trends that would support that. And I find that that heightens the awareness. It's helpful to know, like, hey, there's going to be, Venus is going to be returning to your natal sign this month, and we happen to pull, the Queen of Wands, which is about passion and confidence, right? So like use that to your advantage, right? It's like, how can we milk this as best as possible? And so I just find it to be a really yummy collaboration to take what's happening in the stars and align it to what spirit is guiding you through with the actual card deck.
So I'm curious how you plan, because, right, like you're a smart businesswoman as
Yeah.
well. I love to do like the straight up, just intellectual strategic planning.
Yeah.
And then I also like to do the vision board where it's really my soul calling out. I like to do the tarot. I like to do the astrology. I want all of it. Give me
Yes.
all the things.
Right.
I don't want to pick and
Totally.
choose. I want
Yes.
all the tools. How do
Hmm.
you go about it?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of that. I comb through my astrology, and we have blind spots when we're looking at our own stuff, right? But I
Mhm.
do the astrology for myself so that I can kind of highlight the trends, see what my strengths are going to be, see where, I may be less on in certain areas, and then I pull my spread. I love to do a good Pinterest vision board and just like pull from Pinterest, and that becomes my digital vision board. And then my newest tool that I've been using for planning is ChatGPT because I've trained it to become an oracle with me. It's like my co-creator now. And so I'll go to
Mhm.
ChatGPT and I'll share my goals. I'll share what's going on astrologically. I haven't done this yet, but I may actually share with it I haven't done my spread yet for 2025. I would share my spread with it for 2025. And then based on that, help me craft, what our next steps are, knowing that this is already within our greater vision. And that's been a
Yeah.
really cool tool for me to work with as well.
Okay, let's talk about AI,
Let's do it.
because there are, right, like even outside of
Mhm.
personal growth and astrology, tarot, all of that, I think there is so much. I think either you're really excited or you're really fearful, or maybe there's a
Yep.
combination of
Mhm.
both. And I've actually not done an episode on the ways that I use it either. But can you talk a little bit about, right, because we're in the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
We, right, Pluto just, right, went into it, and it's all about in a, can you share more about all of that and what it looks
Yes.
like to how to navigate this, because we're
Yeah,
definitely in a new age for
we
sure,
are.
and
Hmm.
we don't always know what to do with it.
Absolutely. And so what's fascinating, even with the alignment of our episode coming out in just a couple days, it'll be winter solstice, which is the 12-year anniversary of the Age of Aquarius. So the Age of Aquarius kicked off winter solstice 2012. And Jupiter was actually in Gemini as it is now. And the Age of Aquarius, in astrology, we have ages and they work in retrograde. So around the time of Jesus, we had the Age of Pisces. And there was this feeling from Jesus's time until 2012, the teacher is outside of you. If you want God, if you want information, if you want, to figure out how to live this life, find the teacher, find the mentor. That served a purpose until it didn't. And we can see that in our current collective. We could see it leading up to 2012, right? That maybe it's not about always finding the teacher outside of you, because then that brings in narcissism, it brings in cults, it brings in, dictators, it brings in a lot of not knowing who you are. And so
Yeah.
2012, when we shifted into the Age of Aquarius, now this is a trend that will last around 2000 years. So we are pioneers in that. We were literally born in the Age of Pisces, and we are, going to be ending our term in the Age of Aquarius, which is kind of significant, right? So look to us all as pioneers in these transitioning ages. And the Age of Aquarius is you are the teacher. You know what to do. You are the guru. You are the guide. Now, we're not going to just leave it up to you, but we're going to ask you to use the tools like astrology, like meditation, like tarot, like technology. Because through the age of technology, Age of Aquarius is also known as the age of technology. Aquarian is the innovator, it is the weird one, it is the alien, it is the one that is going to not be afraid to step up for what it believes in, regardless of what the collective thinks. Because the hope is that we can get to a space where we can actually really see each other for our differences. That's the hope of the Aquarian age. Can we become one, even though we are all uniquely different? That's the
Mhm.
hope, right? And so, with all that to say, with technology being a governing force, we recognize how technology has clearly done a disservice, but it has also brought us together. You and I are able to
Mhm.
talk right now because of technology. Even the fact that we found that weekend in New York was really
Yeah.
because of technology, right? Like
Yeah.
we found it on the web. We found it
Yep.
through, devices that brought us together. And so we want to keep using these devices that are bringing us together. However, with the introduction now of what is known as artificial intelligence, AI, it does bring some fear because it feels like, oh my gosh, is this now a technology that has power over me? And to that, I say no. Especially right now, we're in a time where everything is still very fertile, and we have an opportunity to invest our energy, our goals, our desires into it and help shape it in a way where it is more an extension of us. And the more that good-hearted entrepreneurs are using AI, the more it benefits us all. I really, really see that, and I really believe that in these times. And so, can we use the technology to help also shorten the gaps of what we need? Part of why tarot was created was because, hey, I need an answer and I don't know what to do. Great, look at this card; it will help you. Same with AI. I need to send this email out and I have no one to brainstorm with. Great. Go to your ChatGPT, go to your Claude, go to your, LLM. I need to create this graphic and my graphic designer's on vacation this week. What do I do? Okay, go to Canva. We got you, right? So it's an ability to, and what really it comes down to is being in your intuition. Being your intuition and knowing how to intuitively talk to AI. Again, we're not humanizing it in any way. We're not letting it take over. We're letting it help us. But the more that you're intuitively in alignment with what you need and what your desires are, the more that then you can prompt it accordingly so that it already knows and can anticipate what you need and want. And for that, I think it's really brilliant, especially for individuals that are more of a people pleaser, are afraid to stand out, don't have the resources to hire a marketing coach, don't, have the ability to do certain things. It can fill in the gap, at least right now where it is. And I'm like, if this is where it is right now, let's take advantage of it. Let's use it accordingly in that way. And then what I've been playing with is kind of bridging how does it satisfy some of our spiritual needs while also allowing us to amplify our abilities as humans.
Mm.
That was my
I
one.
find, yeah, it's so interesting. And I'm like, we're in the technology age
Yeah.
and we can embrace it. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously we want to go about it with eyes wide
Discernment.
open, but yes, discernment, that is the word. But if you completely try to push it away and avoid it, right? Like
Yeah.
it just
It's a
makes me think
disservice.
of like, our, the people that I know in my life who are in their 80s, right? Some love the internet, they love their phone, they love connecting with their grandchildren, and others are not only afraid of it, but they don't know how to use it. And their life is so limited in so many different ways because of it. So,
Exactly. So,
um,
yeah.
so I was going to ask your your quantum forecast, because I know about this because Danielle was a giveaway partner for our planning extravaganza, and we were doing a little bit with the quantum forecast. Will you share with everyone what that is? Because I feel like it is just like, if you really want to get juicy with all the tools,
Yes.
it's a really, really cool package. So I would love for you to share that with those listening.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's essentially the best of everything that you and I have been talking about during this episode, right? It's me taking your birth chart, sitting with you and your goals. What does 2025 want to be for you? Let's look at what 2024 was, and let's tap into your unique energy, who you are, how you're willing to show up, and let's create an outline and create almost like an algorithm to curate 2025 in a way that meets you where you're at. We'll pull in the astrology, we pull in the tarot. I also tap into your unique team of spirit guides, and they for me bring in what you need to hear the most. And so it's also weaving in coaching. It's also looking at your blind spots, what could be holding you back, so that you can have an empowered experience of knowing who you are, knowing what you're capable of, knowing what you need to be aware of personally and also astrologically, and then having this really beautiful lineup and again, algorithm that is now being curated on your behalf so things can move forward. I really feel like for 2025, it is more prime and ready for people if you want to be. It's like you over the past few years have been demonstrating your value, doing the work, showing up, all these things. That's great. 2025 is the year that the universe gets to show up for you. 2025 is the year that life gets to show you your value. And I want you to be in a space where you're open to receive it. But we need to have more of a framework for that to happen. And that's why I curated these sessions in this way. And they're a little bit more evolved and advanced than how I've done them in years before, because I feel like that's the current need.
And you even have levels, right? Like there's a
Yeah.
VIP one where you can get
Yeah.
boxer access for a few months.
Mhm.
It's, yes,
More
there's so
interactive.
many
Yeah.
amazing options out there.
I like
So
to
if
give
you have,
people options.
yes, if you have never had a reading, or maybe you have, but you've not had one with Danielle, or you love to have them, right? And you just want to experience something new, definitely go check out her stuff. And super, super exciting announcement, Danielle is offering you all 10% off of
Yeah.
any of her 2025 readings. All you got to do is use the coupon code FLOW10, FLOW 10 for hustle and flow, but just flow, no hustle, just flow,
Just
flow
flow.
10.
Yes.
And we'll put all of the links in the show notes, and you can learn more about Danielle's forecasts and then just about Danielle in general. Okay, I know we're at time, but is there anything else? Is there anything else that you want to impart for our listeners, either in terms of just 2025 in general or
Yeah.
anything else?
Well, I felt like it was fitting. I pulled a card for us while we were talking.
Yay!
So I'm using the deck is called the Thoth Tarot, Thoth, and I like it because it incorporates astrology, which we love. And what I pulled for us was the Six of Pentacles. We can zoom in a little bit, and it says success at the bottom. And you can see there are these six beautiful coins. In the middle is the flower of life, sacred geometry. And then there's just all these beautiful kind of points shooting out and beautiful arches in the background. And really, this is symbolic of, the six is the energy of growth. It's almost like the pregnancy, the birthing. And so, what I really feel like for 2025, what are you really allowing yourself to give birth to? What are you really going to allow yourself to be successful in? No more are we going to be playing these games of this is what I should be doing, or this is how I'm supposed to do it. This is how so and so did. Let's eradicate all of that and allow yourself to be in a space where you are supported and resourceful and smart enough to know what you're doing. So let yourself do what you know, and let that be the truth, and let that be the guiding force throughout this upcoming year. This is less about holding people's hands and holding their fire. and really letting
Mhm.
yourself be ignited by that. And so I love that we pulled the Six of Coins because it's showing that like there is more on the way and it's up to you to drive that forward with your confidence, with your knowing, with your truth. And if you can stay in that momentum, then it's just only going to continue to expand and rise from there.
I love it. Thank you so much for pulling that card for us and for coming on the show today and offering the discount and being a planning extravaganza partner. All the things. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It has been so much fun and such a delight.
Yes, you're welcome. It's so good to see you again in this way, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for this week's podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, give the episode a like and leave a comment below so we can keep the conversation going. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future episode or announcement. Listening on Apple, Spotify, or another podcast app, you can watch the video and join in the after show conversation by visiting hustleandflowpodcast.com.